I had a lot of fun writing a book that is called A Simple Christmas. It was a bestseller. I shared a lot of personal holiday memories. But here to share their personal Christmas memories with us, I want you to welcome some very special people. Country music artist Irlene Mandrell, comedian Bone Hampton, and country music legend and good friend Larry Gatlin. So glad to have you guys here to talk about Christmas.
Glad to be here, glad to be here.
Irlene, I'm gonna start with you because you're the lady.
Thank you.
And besides, these guys, they just don't look as nice as you do. Simple as that. You grew up in a very musical home. You had two older sisters. We all know Barbara and Louise. So I must have to wonder that there was a whole lot going on in your family around Christmas time that involved music. What do you remember as a little girl growing up in the Mandrell house?
Well, we had some really great traditions, and we did, as kids, put on shows for our parents. And I remember, now, Barbara's not a lot older, but when you're a little kid, and you know, and Louise is close, but they're older than I am. And the only thing I could do back then was skip, and I didn't do that well. So that was my thing for Christmas. We got movies with me half skipping around, and they would play their little instruments, and we'd put on shows.
So you kind of got started early at this whole thing of performing for people. That was pretty apparent. Bone, let me ask you about some traditions. Any in your family that you're passing now on to those coming after you?
Yeah, we had this cool tradition. I'm the oldest. I got a younger brother, a younger sister. And when we was little, we started this tradition that we would all sleep in the same bed Christmas Eve, little twin-sized bed, so we'd all wake up at the same time. It was so cute when we started. When we started, we kind of looked like this. And then 20 years later, we was trying to hang into that tradition, and everybody was 200 plus pounds. We were like, but we got to keep the streak going. Look, man, you're gonna fall out the bed, but just get back up again, get back up again. The Lord still love you. So we passing that tradition, and now my 8-year-old son looking at me like, Daddy, I'm not doing that with y'all.
You know, the kids are getting smarter than their parents, aren't they?
Yes, very
Gatlin,
much.
I'm almost afraid to ask you, but Larry, I got to go there. Do you have a favorite Christmas memory?
Well, we didn't have a Christmas tree, so we just put Rudy up in the window and let him wear his ball cap, you know. That's Goober Lindsay. I stole that from Goober. Well, you know, we, like Irlene, we sang a lot. We were singing at churches, and we sing at different various civic clubs around town. So my very first Christmas that I remember, Steve was just a baby. I was 3, and he had been born in April before the Christmas. And Dad worked very hard. He was a driller in the oil field. They had no unions. He worked 8 hours a day, 7 days a week. If he was off, that just meant that he wasn't getting paid and the rig wasn't working. So this Christmas, he got to be home with us, and like I say, Steve was just a baby. And Santa Claus brought me a new bicycle, and I looked at it for about, well, I looked at it just until I saw the drum over there under the, you know, that must have cost $1, $2. And I looked at the bicycle for about 35, 40 seconds, maybe a minute, and went over there and banged that drum for the rest of the day. And we have a drummer over there hanging out with musicians.
Yes, we do. That was cold. You know, Irlene is a drummer.
Do you remember that?
Yes, what I meant was drummers are my favorite.
Larry, I think we're done with you. I'll just visit with Bone and Irlene.
Okay, I'll just go ahead.
Irlene, what was the best Christmas gift you ever got? What was it?
Well, let me go back. I'll tell you the best one I got. But before I was born, our Christmas gift that we got before I was born, that I make my kids here every year so they'll think about how special Christmas is. My mom and dad had been married a couple years and been traveling, and finally decided to settle in Texas. And my mom was expecting, and she went into labor on Christmas Eve. And everything was fine, and then all of a sudden, and they didn't have any family in Texas, it was just her and my dad, and all of a sudden, the doctor came out and told Dad that I can't save your wife or your child. There's just nothing I can do. So my dad was praying, and all of a sudden, he'd been in the Navy. Somebody came in and recognized him, called him Arby. And his name's Irby, but he was from Arkansas, so they called him Arby. And Dad didn't recognize him at first, and he goes, my dad was a pharmacist maid. And he was the doctor my dad had served under. And he was in charge of the hospital, and Dad told him the problem, and he says, well, let me see what I can do. And now this is a long time ago. We came back and said, I'll take over, but I want you to assist me like you used to in the Navy. So Dad also assists. And on Christmas Day, Barbara was born, and my mom survived. So that's our cool Christmas.
Wow. Wow.
Whoa.
I'm done. Whoa.
Show's over.
Bone,
Oh, you want me to follow that story?
because I'm not going to. Yeah, you got to follow that.
Hey, unless we have a stable, a bunch of donkeys, Mary, Jesus, and Joseph, nobody can follow.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
So, Bone, do you have something funny other than sleeping with all your brothers when you're all 200
Well,
pounds?
let me just acknowledge this. I'm listening to Miss Mandrell and Gatlin, and I realized that Christmas traditions are cultural. And that's the difference in Christmas tradition. That's a fancy way of saying Christmas is different with white folks than black folks. And I got a lot of white friends, and what I realized is that my white friends actually have 12 days of Christmas. Black people, we got 1 day. It's the 25th. They would open gifts on the 24th. You would get a beat down if you open your gifts before 7:30 on Christmas Day. And we tried to wake up my mom one time at like 5:45, like, Mama, it's Christmas. And I got the worst beating ever in my life. I told you don't wake me up before 7:30. So at 7:45, I'm opening gifts, crying all at the same time. This is so wonderful, Mama. I'm glad you got me the bicycle and the drum.
All right, Larry,
Oh, Lord.
I want to know, because you're wearing what looks like a uniform, and I didn't know whether to salute you or just say hello.
Well, I'll tell you about this. When my dad came back from the war, he and Mom got married, and when I was born, he had his, his Marine mean greenies, those Marine uniforms, and I wore that thing around the house till I wore the bottom of it off. And when we came to Nashville and started making a little money, I always had my suits made kind of in that tradition. And look, I was number 296 in the draft in Vietnam. I didn't have to go. So I do not deserve and have not earned the right to do that. These are not like Army buttons or Navy. These are just the American Eagle. But I've been on USO trips, and I do it as to honor my 91-year-old Marine father. But I also always felt a little strange about it. So I went to Washington 2 years ago to do a benefit performance up there. And a friend of mine was up there, and I thought, I'm going to ask this gentleman what he thinks about it. And I told him the story about my dad, and that I was honoring him, and that these were not Army or Navy, Marine, that was just the American Eagle. But I had done USO trips, and I did it to honor him and our veterans and asked for his blessing. And my friend and yours, General Colin Powell, said, Private Gatlin, it's okay. You keep honoring your daddy like that. So I like that military look, and I wear it in honor of our father and all you men and women who have served and are serving. And God bless you all. And that's it. It's true.
That's a great reason to do it. I want to thank these two very wise men, and most of all, a very wise lady, for sharing Christmas stories with us. Irlene Mandrell has a brand new album, thanks to you. It's out right now, and also a new book that's about to release. You can visit IrleneMandrell.com, get copies of both. You can also pick up Bone Hampton's new comedy DVD, Unofficially Famous. And you can find out where he's going to be making people laugh at bonehampton.com. And then be sure to visit GatlinBrothers.com, concert dates, great music, and so much more from one of the greatest guys I know and a dear friend, Larry Gatlin. Now, don't you dare go away if you want to stay off Santa's naughty list.